Nollywood, no doubt, has produced a lot of beautiful movies this year. I mean, they've explored different genres, the unusual genres. They explored historic films. They explored biopics. They explored melodrama. They explored different genres. I mean, they explored something out of the ordinary. I think one of the producers gave us football films, and one of the producers has done a lot of things. And just to make sure and to make us see the audience, to make us see that they are putting in the work, and it is an applaudable thing. It's an applaudable thing for Nollywood at large. But as much as they've given us one of the best performance in recent times, there are movies that are below par, not because they are not good movies, not because they are an excellent movie, because I as an audience and I as a filmmaker or as a film consumer, I know what it takes to produce a movie, and I know what it takes to tell a story. All the same, we have expectations as viewers, and we expect them to come as fresh as possible. We expect them to come as beautiful, as more excellent as possible. Hence the reason why we have this 2024 week movies. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are just coming, what we do here is we review movies and we give you all the gist going on in the industry. So in this video, I'll be talking about and I'll be giving you my top 10 week movies of 2024. Here are my top 10 week movies of 2024. On my number 10 is The Beat featuring Zaina Balogun. This movie is something that I've seen in Hollywood countless times, just like rinse and repeat for Nollywood to bring something like this. And it will still be acceptable if this movie was done in an excellent way. At the point, at first, I was enjoying it for like the first 20 minutes of this movie, but it got tiring. It felt it was as if the producer didn't know what he or she was doing at the point. It was very, very tiring. It was very, very exhausting, and everybody that has watched this film also have the same idea that it could have been told in a more simpler way rather than being complex. I know there's power in simplicity, and hence the reason why, in my own opinion, this movie did not meet up to the expectation of the people. And rather than being one of the best movies, because the story and the script has a good potential, but all the same, it's still not a bad movie. But it is on my top 10 week movies of 2024. On my number 9 is Head Over Bills featuring Shafi Bello and Bimbo Adebon. This movies I've seen, this story I've seen it countless times in Nollywood. It's like one of the stalest story in the industry, where a rich parent trying to curb the excesses of their children, trying to make them be the better person because of the status of the parents and all of those, and wanting them to inherit, and one of in a way the cut the benefits that the children are enjoying, just to make them think of who they are. This story is has been told on several times, like several times, especially in recent times of Nollywood. And I think this kind of story should stop, and Nollywood producers should do well by bringing us fresh stories. This story is, I would categorically call it overflogged, and I feel like it's not something that should repeat itself in 2024. Plus, the platform that it was on, if it was probably on YouTube or somewhere on more mid-range platform, it would have been categorized as like a normal film. But this movie was brought to Prime, and a movie that is brought to an exclusive streaming platform is required to be one of the best, if not the best, but to be spectacular for something tangible, because it's an exclusive platform. On my number 8 is Japa featuring Adesua Itomi and Jide Kene. This movie has a similar conception with The Beat. The conception of reincarnation, fast time traveling, deja vu, and all of those. We are, on behalf of Nigerian audience and Nigerian film lovers, we are tired of this kind of story, and Nollywood producers in 2025 should give us better storytelling rather than having to do with deja vus and time traveling and all of those. We are sincerely tired, and we want something fresh. On my number 7 is Hotel Lambaba featuring Lateef Adedimeji and Blessing Nze. This is one of the most chaotic films that I saw in 2024. Trust me. As much as it was comedy intended, it gave me a lot of headache because I didn't know what was happening in this film. It was just coming together of actors trying to do their thing, but it was a disaster. It was very chaotic, you know. I forced myself to finish this movie because I couldn't even get my head around what was happening in this film. It was such a chaotic film, I must say, and I must use the right word for it because it was chaotic for me, and I couldn't even comprehend the whole thing that was going on in this film. On my number seven is Shino. I think this movie was set to be produced or to be owned by Temini Ebuso. You know, being his debut performance or being his debut production, we expect more because he has been on different expert sets and which requires him to have learnt one or two from one of these excellent producers. But this movie failed on arrival because you know it was not expected of him. This movie is one of the dead films of 2024, and we beg that this kind of movie shouldn't repeat itself in 2025. That's all I have to say. On my number five is Postcard featuring Shola Shobowale and RMD and Toby Bakri. You know, I'm so infuriated by this film. Anytime I remember that this film is like a cross-continent film that was expected to be one of the major film of 2024, but it was intended to be like to be told a simple story. But this movie, in my own opinion, is a failure because why would I regard this as a waste of resources because you know if a producers or Nigerians at large are trying to do cross-continental film, it should be worth it. But this film was not what it is. It the basic storyline was just basic that it was not what the hype, it was not what the collaboration, it was not what the energy that was put into during the intercontinental collaboration. And I'm infuriated because it could have cost Nigerian big blow. It could have cost Nigerian exports to intercontinent, but I guess it's a miss of chance. On my number four is Hijack by Charles Play Network. You know, I'm a fan of Charles Play, but I'm a fan of Charles Play effort. I'm a fan of his movies, but I think he should stop doing historic films and he should stop doing remake. He should invest in young writers and helping them build their brand. You know, I feel like his remakes and his historic films are not it for me because they end up being a little bit watery and whack. And Hijack is not an exception because you know, this movie has a lot of backlash in this year when it was released. You know, when I watched it, I was like, what was going on in this film? You know, it was just a bumpy stuff, and I couldn't even place my head around what was happening in this so-called film. And I'm sorry if this is a little bit harsh, but this film is a lot of shit hole. My number three is the comedy intended Muri and Co. featuring Kunle Remy. You know, I understand that you know a producer or a good film shouldn't be crime, shouldn't be adventure, shouldn't be, but should be can be comedy. But all the same, if you want to do comedy film, it should be told in a good way. I feel like this movie is one of this caricature of comedy at large. You know, it could have been told in a better way. Trust me, it could have been. It contains a lot of flops that are floggable for the producer. As much as I love the producer, but I feel like this she has done something similar and it was good. It was generally acceptable. Muri and Co. that was on the cinema but was later brought to Prime Videos is not a worth of time. On my number two is Lakatabu, produced by Odunade Adekola, featuring Adoni Ade and Teddy A. You know, this movie got a lot of backlash from people because you know it was not generally accepted by people. But personally, I enjoyed this movie. I must be very sincere. I enjoyed this movie, but you know, this list was selected due to the the general feedback of the movie, but it was not generally accepted because you know I think a lot of ordinary Adekola's fan have seen him in this element quite numbers of time in his Yoruba films and Yoruba YouTube films where he acts like the thief boss and kidnapper boss, and him trying to bring it to a bigger screen. I think is an intended murder on his career when it did that. You know, I think it should, in my own opinion, it should foster his energy in different areas of filmmaking or probably invest in new script writers to help him bring out his more acting prowess. In my own opinion, Lakatabu was not a success and was not generally accepted by the audience. You see this number one, anywhere they are dragging this film, call me. Personally, call me, Tatafo. Personally, call me. And this movie is no other movie than Kesari, produced by Italy. You know, this is one of the worst movie of 2024. As a matter of fact, it is the most dragged film of 2024. I guess it was not produced in 2024, if I'm not mistaken, but it was brought to Netflix in 2024, and the more it got a backlash when it was in the cinema. When I watched it, the most painful thing was I was trying to convince a friend who is not really a fan of watching film in cinema, and I wanted to sample with him, and I sampled him with Kesari, and he was disappointed because he felt like what was the important thing of going to cinema to watch movies, but and I felt like Kesari is a good movie that I could convince him with, but reverse was the case because even myself I was disappointed. This movie has no head or no tail. Just call me anywhere they are dragging Kesari. Just call me. Just come and call me because this movie is not a success. This movie got a lot of backlash from people, and in 2024, and my own advice is that Kesari should foster his energy into being an actor rather than being a producer, because or probably in future if he produces another good movies, or he should go on that tutelage of the likes of Femi Adebayo to learn one or two things from him. But all the same, it is not completely a bad movie because I will still emphasize on the fact that I know what it takes to produce a movie and I know what it takes to tell stories. And all the same, but anywhere they are dragging Kesari, come and call me. So that was it on my top 10 week movies of 2024. Thank you very much for watching to this time. Thank you very much for liking. Thank you for always commenting and always sharing. To my existing viewers, thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for always watching this your boy. Thank you. And to my new subscribers, make sure you subscribe, click on the subscribe button so you get notified whenever I drop content. So it's going to be a good ride this year, because I promise you it is not going to be short of premium content, premium review as they come out with the review. Is it a good one? Is it not a good one? Is it a recommended one? Of course, it's going to be a good one. Stay tuned as we'll be bringing you more of the good content. We still have a lot of movies to review. We still have Family Basic. We still have The Waiter by AY Comedian, and we still have a lot more that is to come this year. So thank you very much for coming. I love you all. Mwah.